Here's some more pathways that have been designated by the soldiers in the early 40s. I mean, that's really how old all of this design work is. And you know, it may not look like much, but it's so cool to me that it's still here. This is 80 years old. You can camp here all you want, and now you're camped in history. Now Echo just took off after something, which it looks like it was a rabbit, because see, he just stopped right over there. Let's see how quickly I can get him to come back. Echo, come. Echo, Echo, come. No. Echo, hey. He's trying to listen to me. And if that was a deer though, he wouldn't be coming back. He'd be taking off. Echo, get over here. Come here. And now look at this. So this is, I have no idea what this is. It's a pipe. I mean, that's got to be part of the history of this place. You know, that could be some sort of latrine situation. You can see all the little pathways they have in here. Who knows what this was? I imagine there was a big tent right here. Probably living out here for months, and you just design it to like give yourself some sense of satisfaction. Probably when you're bored, you can sit out in front of your tent and talk to the other soldiers as they pass by. Something like that. I mean, they obviously have a lot of time, because these little pathways get, you know, fairly intricate. Here's another area. And this guy was really into the light colored rocks, apparently, the way he designed it. And I mean, you can see it's like a little garden. You got little rings, which there's still plants in them. You know, these plants aren't 80 years old, but that's basically how it looked back then. And so there's somebody camped out right here, and they're hanging out here in the daytime. Look at that. That's so neat to me. You can see they've got a little pathway right here, and then this is square right here. So there had to have been a tent right here. So there's somebody camped here. Probably multiple people camped in this one tent. And there's another square right here. And there's a big area here. You can see it's really cleared of big rocks, and then they kind of pushed the smaller rocks, like kind of like raking. They must have had some sort of equipment. I guess you could do it by hand with a shovel, just piling up the smaller rocks to make pathways. And these rocks, now this really trips me out. These rocks, the pattern that I'm seeing them in, I mean, these rocks, you know, for the most part, they have not been moved from where they are. They've just been sitting here, you know, taking on the rain and the sun, the weather that comes through here, but they haven't moved. And the pattern that they're laid out in, right? Like this rock is the corner rock. I'm sure that rock's been there for 80 years. It hasn't moved. And so the guy that was, or the guys that were coming into their tent here, every morning or whenever they came back into their tent, they're seeing that same rock. And all these rocks they're seeing. So this is just a reflection of what it felt like to be here in the 40s. And this place would have been full of tents out here. I just think it's so neat. Now there's a couple more areas I wanted to check out The sun's coming down. Actually, it's already past the horizon. So it's gonna get dark here in about 15 minutes. I saw something on Google Maps again on the satellite view, and it looks like, you know, another structure. So we're gonna go check that out right now to see what that is. Now we've taken a little detour. Dodger's still following us back there. What we're gonna check out now is a crater that I can see on the satellite view. And this tree right here is one of the biggest trees out here, right there, that one. And that is right on the edge of this crater. And from satellite view, I mean, to me, it's definitely a crater. So I really think it has something to do with explosives. And now as I'm getting closer, you can see an impression, sort of a dent, and then it kind of goes up. So that must be the outside of it. Let's check this out. And then after we check this out, we're gonna check out the structure that's just on one of the blocks out here. Okay, yeah, I mean, this is definitely a crater. You can see that. It's a big circular impression. I mean, it's basically a perfect circle. Now, what caused this? Your guess is as good as mine, and put it down in the comments what you think this impression is from. I don't see that we're gonna find any clues out here. I mean, the water is not really running in here. It must fill up though. It kind of looks like there's a little bit of debris down there from when it does get full of water. But you know, the plants do look a little greener in here, but they're not really necessarily bigger. So yeah, there's some old mud down here. And maybe that's the explanation. Maybe it's just a man-made sort of pond. I don't know why that would be out here though. To me, it feels like something was dropped here, but now that I think about it, it would have had to have been something pretty big to cause this impression in the dirt. And then to eject all of that rock and sand up on the sides like this. But this is the only kind of area around here that looks anything like this. I haven't seen anything that looks like a pool, you know, like a pond kind of like this. So I'm gonna say this is, I mean, it's man-made. You can see how the sand comes up here. That doesn't seem natural to me at all. All right, now if I can just get my bearings here, we're gonna go back towards camp a little bit and find this final structure that I've never seen before. It's kind of like a long, looks like a long cement pit, and there's kind of like a series of them. If I didn't mention before, this is the Got Out channel. This is what we do. This is how the dogs and I live. You know, we get a little dirty and we get a little smelly, but we're healthy and we're fit. We always got food and water, and we got electricity because we got solar panels on the trailer. So we're always pretty comfortable and pretty happy just traveling around and living by our own means. We don't have to rent a place or like fix a house up or pay like a monthly rent. We don't have to pay rent. We don't have to pay for our utilities for the most part. You know, we have, sometimes you have to pay a few bucks to get some water, but I never need to plug in because I have solar power. and batteries. I got a system that basically regenerates itself. Whether the truck is powering it as we travel, kind of charges up the batteries. The solar powers up everything, and then that also charges the batteries that we have in there. Sometimes we have to pay to dump our tanks, but I'll tell you, a lot of times we find free places to dump your tanks. When we were in Vegas, we dumped our tanks for free there. There's a gas station, and as long as you buy something, and I had to buy propane, which is kind of one of the few bills that we do have besides gasoline, But the way I look at it, everybody that's basically living nowadays, you have a gasoline bill. You're driving to and from work to get to the store, that kind of thing. So that's what we do. And we don't tend to drive too much. In a year, we probably drive, it's like 5,000, 6,000 miles. And probably every couple weeks, we end up at a new campsite. And I hit a lot of new ones that we haven't been to before, and also a lot of ones that we have been to before. So there's this feeling of ambivalence, kind of not knowing where you're going to be. And I definitely had that feeling a lot the first year I was doing this. But then now it's mixed up with a sense of comfort and going back to the places that we've been to before. So we get to some of the same places we've been to, and it feels super comfortable. So it's kind of a mixture of both feelings. That's our lifestyle. That's what we do here on the Got Out channel. I'm showing you how we live, the things we do right and the things we do wrong. And I love to hear from y'all. So if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. Let us know you're watching. We like to know you're watching. And you can subscribe and watch all of our adventures as we encounter new things all the time. New experiences, new situations, new equipment, new ways to travel, new places to go, new animals and new landscapes all the time, all the time. All right, let's find this structure. We got to find it quick because we got probably, I feel really far away from camp right now. It's probably a third of a mile. Yeah, that's a third of a mile back to camp. And the sun is going to be down any minute. I got Mr. Echo on his leash now. Dodger, he's our little soldier, and he, he's pretty trustworthy. He did have a run-in today. He went to somebody else's camp. Someone came in, and I didn't know they were here, and they had a few dogs, and he can't hear me when I'm calling for him. He plays deaf, or he is a little bit deaf. And he went over to them, and luckily he didn't get in a fight with them. Dodger wouldn't pick a fight, but you never know about other dogs. Well, that was my mistake. It's funny I say that he's trustworthy, and then I tell a story about how he just took off into someone else's camp this morning. But to me, it's like, I trust him. I really do. He's an old dog. We've been together for a long time. So this structure should be right around here. I could just turn on my satellite view and it would pinpoint exactly where we are. But it's fun sometimes to just kind of get to the general area. And this looks like probably what I was seeing is a trench. So trenches, they were practicing with tanks out here, and I believe like munitions. Well, yeah, because supposedly there's signs around here about explosives. So I'm gonna assume this is a trench to basically test or to work with tanks out here, right? So you drive a tank over, like, let's see if we can get over this trench, or you guys get down in there and we're going to drive a tank over you so you know how that feels, that kind of thing. I really don't know, but it does make sense that there are trenches out here. Right here are some like little mounds. Stick with me on this. Like, I don't I'm just guessing what all this means out here. I'm the only person out here, so I'm the only person that can interpret what I'm seeing. Not many people come out here. There is a marker at the front, which you should have seen in this video by now. But other than that, there's no signage. I haven't seen any other signs. Nothing. So for my purposes, this is a tank testing area. And you get your tank and you ride it over these mounds to test it out, test battle exercises. And the same with this trench. What else would this trench be for? And you can see that it's filled in, at least to some degree, with dirt. But that's just from erosion. I mean, it would have been completely dug out at some point. So, yeah, when I say structures here, it's basically just piles of dirt and rocks. You know, we did see a few. There's a couple slabs of cement here and there. But a lot of the mysteriousness about this place, for me, comes from my imagination, spurned on by what I am finding here. It's just remnants of the past, of what was here. I really dig it. Like, I mean, I'm going to remember these things that we found today for a long time. A Dodger standing on the trench there. Well, check this out. There's barbed wire in there. Yeah, you wouldn't want to fall in there. Get tangled up in that. Let's get a close look at it. And honestly, to me, and there's definitely animals in here, you're gonna find things like coyotes out here and rabbits. But this barbed wire, to me, it doesn't look like barbed wire that I usually see, that farmers use. This is pretty heavy duty stuff. So put it down in the comments if you think this is barbed wire from the 40s. I mean, to me, it seems like it is. It's very black and heavy duty. I mean, super thick. Let's see how thick that is. I mean, that is heavy stuff, and it's really not deteriorated. And here's a post, an old post. I wonder if you had a metal detector in here, if you'd find anything interesting. Probably just more barbed wire. Man, I gotta be careful I don't fall in there.